So let's move into kind of just the face and kind of altering things that I need to. I'm going to try to finesse a couple of things by darkening and lightening certain things. It's a little bit harder to, I think it's a little bit easier to control the values when it's smaller, but it's a little bit harder to dig into certain things that I want to dig into when it's smaller as well. So I remember it's weird the way drawing works when you're learning it. I'll talk about that while I'm doing this. I remember when I'm first learning to do portraits, things like that. You have this thing where there's this phase that you feel mentally, and it almost feels like you're not going to get by it. And it feels like, wow, I just can't do what that other guy can do. But, you know, sometimes if you study really hard and then you rest for a while, like maybe you take a few days off drawing, it can really help a lot. It feels like that's usually what sleep does. It reorganizes what you're thinking. You know, it reorganizes your thoughts. So sleep can help. I wouldn't cut your sleep for sure. This area I want to combine it. It just seems like it's a little bit too pieced up right now. I want to see what I can do to combine it. I want to push the value a little bit more. Push the values a little bit more in here. Alright. Kind of trying to push the value on that. But see how it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's still not connected to the nose. So I'm going to push the values in the nose. harder. I'm pushing down his pencil. The pencil's alright. It's not great. So I gotta even. So I'm continuing to go into this. Want some really dark shapes. I know when you make something really dark, it's gonna look really odd, you know, like it's just floating there. That's because the rest of the drawing has to catch up. That's why I made this a long drawing, because that's kind of, it's a long process, you know. But just gotta tell yourself you have all day. I think this edge over here is a little too harsh. I want to soften it up. Going more on the side of my pencil. Darkening up the hair a little bit. I'm probably gonna, I don't know what's up. Some still bugging me about this nose. Trying to bring out that other eye. Every time I throw a dark line in there, I'll try to like have some shadow butting up against it so it won't look too linear. Going in the bags under the eyes a little bit. Trying to make her not look cross-eyed. That's somehow that's a challenge. Sometimes when you're looking so close at something, it's weird. You know, your little things like that. Sometimes you're counting the fingers on. You're counting the fingers on a model or something. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at so literally. You know, you're looking at it so much like shapes. It's odd. It's like a different state of being. Corner of the mouth. I want to maybe make the back of her hair darker over here as well to kind of bring out that chin a little bit more. And I'm gonna pull my pencil in different directions. I notice there's a lot of value on this side, but not as much on this other side. If any questions pop into your head while you're watching this, please put them in the comments right now. Like, because I know when I watch a demo, I'll have a question, I'll think about it, and I forget what the question was, you know. But if you do have a question that pops in your head, just put in the comments right now, like right now. Trust me, and I'll get to it. And you know, it could, you know, answer could help you or it could help somebody else. You know what I mean? If let's say I already mentioned or something, but you know, it could help somebody else too. That's the way these little demos things work. If you want another demo, let me know. I'm gonna see if the retention rate on kind of these demonstrations, you know, because sometimes I used to think like, man, no matter what. I mean, the good part is this is on video, so you can fast forward anytime you want. And you can kind of bounce around it. Sometimes demos in real life, no matter how interested I am, you know, eventually it's like, you know, start falling asleep. That's probably why I've always edited my stuff. But like I said, people have requested a unedited version, you know, to see exactly where I'm going with this or how I'm moving my hand in real time, as opposed to, you know, the fast forwarded version. Back of the arm over here. There is a certain point where a lot of it's scratching, like this part. It's going to be a lot of scratching back and forth, I mean. Because it's a single, when you're doing hair, it's directional. But you're also thinking about it as one large mass. You got to think about it as one large mass, and then break that up into smaller little strands. But you're thinking about the overall mass. It has to read as one large mass. That's the point, you know. Sorry I keep saying that, one large mass, but that's pretty much what it has to read as. And I wouldn't worry about that either when you're working on it. I'm trying to do it semi-fast because there's a demo. And although I said it's going to be uncut, you know, all that stuff, I'm still want to speed it up a little bit, you know, because I'm just doing this. Let me tell you some amusing life drawing stories. I used to do nothing but life drawing, and that's pretty much where I think. And by the way, if there's life drawing classes in your college, take them. I find life drawing to be like the fast forwarding, getting better at drawing kind of thing. find that, you know, the proportions of when you're looking for proportion in real life, it helps you a lot more than when you're doing it from picture. That's just what I've found. Wait a minute, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, there's a few moments. Well, I used to do it almost every day for like 4 years. It was fun too. It's weird how a hierarchy forms in your class. You know, like that guy's good and this guy, and then you go to like another school and it's completely different. That guy that was good at the other school is like just one of the normal guys over here. But it's kind of dangerous to get involved in that hierarchy because then you'll kind of get stuck. You'll feel like, hey, I belong here in this, and you don't want to pull out of that. You know, like I belong about this level, but then you go over here, you're like everybody's like way better. You're like, hey, I need to. I thought I was at this level. I thought I was in the middle. I gotta get back to the middle. I don't know if that makes sense. I might just be rambling. Just kind of going into the hair now, darkening it up. I want it to be pretty dark toward the bottom. Also, you got to think of this as like all of it's shaded up until here. So like give her a little bit of value across her skin. Trying to get some value over here, but I'm trying not to go too dark, and I don't want too much. I don't want too many lines, you know what I mean? Crossing over, showing that much. I mean, there will be, obviously, but I just don't want a tremendous amount of lines showing. So I'm trying to balance the weight of the picture because every picture has kind of a weight to it. We talk about the the value, how dark is certain darks. If it's too dark, like let's say in the bottom corner, way too dark, your eye is gonna pull that way, and it kind of messes with the overall weight of the image, if that makes sense. Putting some dark back here. A lot of it is kind of like, because, you know, for example, I already got the main part of the image down, like, within the first few minutes, really. Like, but now it's going to be this slow build-up. This slow, gradual build-up over time. Going into the hair. Trying to make the hair not... I'm trying not to make it too repetitive. Trying to even things out here. Her head shape's a little odd to me. I feel like there's too much skull up here. I could cut that down a little bit. I feel like it's more like down there. It's a little bit hard to erase this particular pencil. It's another problem I have with this. On a regular pencil, I think I could have got that out, but for now I have to settle for this. Darkening up the edge. And honestly, you know, it's weird because like with a drawing, you might never be done with it. You might never look at it and be like, boom, done. You know what I mean? I know some guys say that they can do that, but I mean, for me personally, there's always something else that bugs me about it. You know, there's always something like, oh, I could do that, or oh, I could do that. I'm gonna go to the outside. Think about changing the composition. Well, I'm thinking about shrinking that bubble around here. So it encompasses her a little bit. And I'm pulling these little... Can you see the way I'm pulling my pencil in that corner? I'm pulling it, like flicking it. It's just the way I'm comfortable doing it. Just flick, 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 flick. Trying to make that uniform. Try to pull that, make that kind of close in value to that. I might pull this down a little bit so you can see it. And I'm going to be doing the same thing to the top also. You know, there is a point, like I said as well, when you're doing this, where it just becomes an endless kind of evening out thing. I guess that's one of the differences with this and digital. Digital, there's a little, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of finessing in digital, and there's definitely a lot of like, wow, this is gonna take forever. But yeah, you know, you look at this big space and you're like, okay, I gotta darken up that whole space by hand. And you're kind of like, ugh, you know. Again, though, you just gotta remember, you got all day. You got all day to do this. Just keep that in your mind, or else you're gonna rush through it and do a worse, you know, job than you can do. I'm trying to find a ruler right now. Let's see. I want to cut out a corner here, but can't find one right now. And this creates a graphic shape. Graphic shape would mean, I guess, a shape that is more of a solid, something that you could see from far away. If you look at logos, those are more graphic. You know what I mean? There's not so much like a painterly thing, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of shading per se. I want this graphic image to kind of contrast the shading in the portrait itself, you know? So I couldn't find a ruler, but I found a T-square, and I am going to trace along the edges here to cut this out a little bit. Let's see, maybe around there. I'm gonna have to guesstimate. Let's see. I'm going to try to get a right angle as close as I can. I got a right angle over here. Just gotta get close. Doesn't have to be exactly a rectangle. Some tape wedged in there. Anyways, that's gonna give me kind of a border. Also, just give me an idea of what I need to do. You know what? I'm gonna have to fast forward this, guys. This is taking too long. So I'm gonna do a kind of a what do you call that? I'm gonna speed this part up. So let's go.